Hello everyone and welcome to another round, the final round of season 10 of the Virtual Drift Championship. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, Tanner?
Good, Craig. You know, I wasn't here for the last round, but we're back and it's the final round and it is getting crazy. Looking at the standings, it is close and the track looks phenomenal and looks like the drivers are loving it too. So I think we're in for a great day of some drifting action.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we start out with that qualifying, another 2-day event for us. So the main event being tomorrow. And there's your current top 32 standings up on the screen right now. And as you said, it is close. I mean, really, all the way down to 6th position, I think, has a chance at the championship this season. So as close as ever. We're back at the coolest Airbnb on the planet, the Drift Mansion, Little Talladega, with a brand new layout. Let's check out today's line map. So original entry that we had from layout A 2 years ago, and really kind of the same turn one. All three of those first 3 zones are identical to layout A, but then we do a little manji there for clip number 4, going back out to your next outside zone there, and then back into clip number 5. So drawn on the track is one large box, but it is split into 2 different zones there. So clip number 5 is that first half of the box, and then we'll get to clip number 12 at the end of that course. But we're going to leave that outside after clip 5 ends and drive back down to your first inside clip for clip number 6. Transition one more time for 7 and back out to 8, where that zone is also the same as clip number 4 from layout A. Out to clip number 9, that is also the same as clip number 5. It's been adjusted just a tiny bit to meet this line that we want to see those drivers use. Basically adding angle as you go through that turn, and driving back to the inside for clip number 10, grabbing that second inside clip, transitioning one more time for clip number 11, and then back out to the outside. We want to see those drivers gradually bring it out to the outside and get to that outside white line just before the start of that clip number 12. Fill that zone all the way, and then they are allowed to cross over that white line a little bit. As they cross that finish line, that small box you see on the screen, we'll see it a little more here shortly. So yeah, we've got the first group loaded in. They're getting their practice runs in right now on this super fun layout. What do you think, Tanner?
I think it's going to be a day of craziness. I mean, this track, when we ran it 2 years ago, brought some intense battles, and it was a really enjoyable time. So with the championship this close, I think it's really any of those top 6's game. And I think we're in for a wicked qualifying and even better battles tomorrow. And, you know, maybe some last 16 battles to spice things up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Dajan Reeves coming to the line now. He's ready to start things out for group number 1. Final round, season number 10. 10 seasons, Tanner. I can't believe it. Lights are on and Rampage is ready to go. Back into C6, staying true to it and firing off in that first outside zone. Grabbing the next one nicely. Works out to 3. Good transition out to 4. Tons of angle there. And he transitions back. Super fun transition into that outside zone there along that wall. Grabbing that inside clip as well. Dialed in run so far. He now works out to 9. Right along that white line. And down to the inside clip. Final transition. Grabs that zone. Now works out to that outside. Right along that white line once more. And across that finish line. What a first run.
Wow. Dajan coming out swinging for the first run. of the final round of the Virtual Drift Championship before we kind of all tuck away for a few months and plan for next year. An 88 up on the board for Dijon Reeves, as we were waiting for Braden Swan to get to the line, and now he's disappeared.
Yeah, he came through on Discord asking if he would be allowed to rejoin, so I think we're going to move on to Austin Zalewski.
And right you are indeed. Now, moving over Braden Swan, now we got Austin Zalewski at the line, ready to go for the first run of qualifying. 88 on the board already set by Dijon Reeves. Can Austin maybe better it? Initiates in. Looks good through outer zone 1, coming up over that hill, hitting that bump a little bit. 3-wheeling into outer zone 2. Down to outer zone 3. Makes the transition. And looks good, but too deep into the wall. Gets into it. He manages to hang on. He has to leave the next outer zone a little early. Still grabs that inside clip. Continuing his run. Hopefully they don't zero him for that, but I don't see anything coming through just yet. I don't think so either. He was able to stay in it. He makes the final transition. Aims for the final outer zone. Crosses the line for Austin Zalewski.
Yeah, getting a piece of the wall going a little bit too deep. Flip number 5. Or will reflect 72 up on the board. So now back around to Braden Swan. At the line, ready to go for his first run. Back at the Drift Mansion. And firing it in. Grabbing that first outside zone all the way out there to that white line. Continuing on with some good angle here. Smooth on his transition. And throws it into 5. Right along that white line, almost getting a little bit too wide. A little bit wide of the inside clip there. Another good transition from Braden. Works out to 8, now out to 9. Adding that angle. And getting back around to that inside clip. Another solid run here in group number 1. Out to that white line and across the finish line.
Braden Swan putting on a pretty good run after the reconnect. We'll wait for one more score to come in to see, does he beat out Dijon Reeves with that 88? He does, and just barely. 88.8 for Braden Swan's first run. So now we have Steven Charbot sitting at the line, that FD RX-7. Gonna get that first run under wraps for him. Oh, too hard off the initiation. Grabs the wall into outer zone 1. And that'll be all they wrote for Steven Charbot's first run of qualifying.
Yeah, a little bit too deep on that initiation and getting into the wall. The wall claiming another victim, just other side of the wall. Round 2, Masashi. Back in the E46. Firing it down the run up. Big initiation from him. And tons of angle into 2, now into 3. Little wobbly here and there through those bumps. But look at there. Absolutely 90 through 4 into 5 now. Filling that zone nicely. Grabbing the inside clip. Another good transition for him. He works out to 8. Filling that zone nicely as well. Getting there to 9, maybe a little bit late. Does get it back to that inside clip. And now working back to the outside final zone. And across that finish line for Masashi.
Yeah, Masashi looking real good, and especially on that transition, that lock-to-lock transition, that was wicked to see. 93.2 on the board. Very good job from Mr. Yoshida indeed. Brandon Patrick sitting at the line waiting to go. And just to quote you from earlier, I mean, this track has VDC written all over it. Walls everywhere, high speed, huge initiation for Brandon Patrick, almost going backwards through outer zone 1. I can't believe he held that together as he headed up the hill. Now we're coming to the transition. Swings it left, swings it right, right up to the white line, brings it down, grabs that inside clip. Brandon Patrick throwing caution to the wind on the first run of qualifying. Gets through the next outer zone. One transition to go through that inside clip. Still throwing lots of angle. Holding it together. Oh, Brandon Patrick. That was a fun looking run.
My goodness. Really throwing it into turn number 1. Didn't quite fill all of outside zone 1, but a lot of excitement throughout that run. 80 on the board for Mr. Brandon Patrick. On to Ethan Pitchercow at the line, ready to go. Returning to us in the FD RX-7. Lights are on and through the gate. On it in there. On to Vangold, using a lot of left foot brake there to hold it in outside zone number 2. Grabs 3. Transition for 4. A lot of fun coming over the crest there. Ooh, working almost a little bit too far outside. Definitely outside of that inside clip number 1. Out to 8. Just barely getting there in time. Filling 9 nicely. To that inside. Final transition over the crest once more. Back out to the outside. Nicely done from Ethan.
Hey, Ethan not looking too bad out there. Some things to clean up for run number 2. Still ends up with an 82 on the board. Now we move over. Dimitri Mitten sitting at the line. She's ready for his first run of qualifying. Down the straight, initiating in. Big initiation right up against the wall, but too far into the wall. And he collects it at outer zone 2. So Dimitri will have to wait for run number 2 to hopefully get a score on the board.
Yeah, an unfortunate one there. It just didn't seem like the car got going when he first fired off there in outside zone number 1. Just kept washing to the outside. But here's Liam Akihiko. Eyeing down the run up, throwing it in, firing it off, almost getting into the wall, very similar to the run ahead of him. Making his first transition here for 4 and now out to 5. A little bit shallow there in 5, a little correction. Now down to the inside clip. Move on his transition there, working it out to 8. Really smooth line there out to that side clip. Coming up a little awkward there for 11 and on the white line across that finish line from Liam.
Liam trying his best in run number 1 and 83.7. Isn't too shabby with how these scores are lining up so far. So now we'll move over to Vladislav Yakulovich. See what they can throw down for run number 1. Lights go on and off we go with Vladislav. Down the straight. Throws it in for outer zone 1. Looks good off the initiation and through outer zone 2. Now into outer zone 3. Some bobbling as he came over those bumps. Doesn't really fill all of 4. But makes up for it here in outer zone 5. Drives off it, gets to that inside clip nicely. Now the transition, quick transition. Maybe looked a little late, but he managed to keep it together and fill the zone. Down towards the next inside clip. Inside of it, not a whole lot of angles we've been seeing from these other guys, but he's keeping his speed up as he comes up through the finish line and finishes out run number 1 of qualifying.
Nicely done from Vladislav as well. And an 83.5 on the board. 12 zones, a lot of areas, quite the length, of course, as well. We've got the replay buffer set to 43 seconds for this one. Really, lap times are around 40. So not a short layout, so a lot areas for deductions as Reese fills outside zone number 2, almost over that white line. Grabbing 3 now. Driving off of it. Bunch of angle for 4 and throws it into 5, getting a little bit too far on the outside. There, ends up on the outside of inside number 1. Working out to 8. Picks it up a little shallow for 9 as well. And grabs that inside clip. Moves on his transition down the mini hill there. Trying to work it back out to the outside and across that finish line for Reese Tatterson.
Patterson looking pretty good, 81.8. A few things to make up for in run number 2. And speaking of the second runs, well, we're back around to the top. We're ready to go again. Dijon Reeves at the top here, sitting on that 88. Can he improve? 93.2, the best score so far. He has sent it in. I thought he made contact with the wall, but he managed to stay in it as he comes up over the hill through outer zone 3, makes the transition through 4, right to angle, almost 90 degrees through outer zone 4. Now he's up through 5 towards that inside clip. Dijon Reeves really having fun with it out here, going for it on run number 2. Doesn't fill a wall of 8, but grabs all of 9 to that inside clip. One last transition, 2 outer zones for Dijon Reeves to hopefully get ahead as he fires it through that finish line. Gives it a little spin at the end.
Firing it through indeed. Dijon with the roof off. And an 80.8 on the board as we wait for Braden Swan. All right, there he is. Worried that he was having some more issues. But here he is at the line, ready to go. Braden's off. And throws it in. Looked like all 4 came off the ground there as he initiated. Filling 3 looks to be cooking through the course here as well. He is flying into outside zone number 5 now. Filling it all the way. Working down to that inside clip. Now working out to 8. Filling that zone. Getting out to 9 as well. And he drive it back into the inside. He can. Final transition. He makes it smooth right along that little yellow line. And out to the outside once more. Crossing that finish line. Braden Swan.
Braden Swan, caution to the wind, put the foot down and said, we're not lifting. 93.2 matches Masashi Yoshida's top score. Very good run indeed as Austin Zaleski sits at the line, sitting on that 72 after hitting the wall, coming into outer zone 5. So let's see what happens here on run number 2 for Austin. Lights up the tires on the initiation. Conservative entry into outer zone 1, holds it nicely through outer zone 2. Grabbing all of outer zone 3. Nicely done through 4. This is where it went wrong for him last time. Not this time. Grabs all of 5, filling the zone nicely and getting the job done through the inside clip. Makes the transition happen. Holding good angle through 8 and now down towards 9. Austin looking better this time around, and this should improve that 72 that he's sitting on as he comes through the final outer zone and crosses that line.
Yeah, much better from Austin Zalewski. It's good to see him back, and an 89 on the board. That'll put him in 3rd position here in group number 1. We've got Austin Zalewski. The line ready to go. Or excuse me, Steven Jarbo. First run initiating in and hitting the wall. He stays off of it this time. Grabbing outside zone number 2. Keeping it going. We're down on 4. Tons of angle there. That's into 5. And down to that inside clip. Really smooth on his transitions here through the course. Grabbing 8. And he get out there to 9 and just a little bit shallow there, but he gets it back to the inside for that inside clip number 2. Back out to the outside. Final zone along that white line and crossing the finish line. Points on the board for Steven.
I think that's the biggest thing when you're coming off of a 0 into your final qualifying run. You have two choices: go for it, or be conservative about it and get those points in. An 85.2 for Steven Charbot. Now, what could be our top qualifier at the moment, he's tied. Masashi Yoshida comes down the straight, initiates in, throws it into outer zone 1. Makes it work into outer zone 2, drawing a nice line down towards outer zone 3. Now for the transitions. This is where he went lock to lock on run number 1. And it almost looked like he did again, coming through outer zone 5 to that inside clip. Masashi on a tear here. He has to better the 88.8 to keep this lead for the number 1 spot so far. Still 4 more groups to come at the end of Masashi's run, as he is throwing it through this course, having fun with it, putting it on the white line, and crossing the finish.
Insane run from Masashi. 93.2 already on the board. That enough to better it. 92, falling just a little bit shy on run number 2, but that'll be a good tiebreaker score if he needs it later on. Well, I guess he does right now. Braden also with a 93.2. Here's Brandon Patrick for his second run. Working it out to outside zone number 2. Good angle for 3 right along that white line as well. Little deep on 4 and throws it up into 5, leaving the outside just a little bit there. Down to the next inside clip. Working his way to outside zone number 5 here. 9. This is looking better than the 80 he previously has. One more zone to go. Back out to the outside. And finishing it out.
So Ethan's sitting on that 80, wanting to improve, get a little bit of a higher score, push him up a bit more, and he does. 85.2 to finish out his qualifying. So now we go to Ethan, sitting at the line on an 82. I feel like all these guys are going to be improving through Group 1 and through our next groups as well, as qualifying starts to really take off here. Initiating in for Ethan. Really quick snap to angle initiation through outer zone 1, holding a nice line through outer zone 2, grabbing outer zone 3 nicely, down to 4. Lots of angle being thrown. He gets it slowed down enough to make sure he doesn't go into the wall for outer zone 5, but misses that inside clip. Now through outer zone 6. Then 7 down to 8. Drawing a nice arc here as he comes around for the final transition. 2 outer zones to go. Will this beat his 82? Well, it looks like it, but also we're not judges. We'll see what they decide.
Already on that 82. 87.7 on the board, so bettering that 82. And we're back around to Dimitri Mitten for his second run. Also getting into the first wall in his first run. Throws it in there, and he throws it in there. My goodness, out to outside zone number 2. Now heading out to 3. Big angle at 4. Makes this transition once more. Grabbing all of 5 and down to the inside clip. Nicely done so far here from Dimitri, coming off that 0. Filling 8 and out to 9. Nicely done there for 9 as well. Grabbing that inside clip. A little bit wide of these insides. Just barely out to the outside, crossing the finish line, and points on the board.
I would give it to Dimitri on that one. That same initiation that he threw in run number 1, he does in run number 2 and actually makes it happen. Ends up with an 86.2 on the board. Good commitment there to stay on the same path. 83.7 Liam Akihiko sits on. Let's see what Liam can throw down here. Initiates in. Looks good off the initiation. Up to outer zone 2. Could have been deeper into outer zone 2, but makes it work for outer zone 3. Makes transition down to 4. Wings it back for outer zone 5. Puts it right on that white line. Looking good for the inside clip as well. Now quick transition. Outer zone 6 and down to 7. Maybe could have filled 7 just a little bit more, but grabs 8 nicely. Through that inside clip, one last transition, wanting to beat the 83.7, drives it out to that final outer zone, and finishes out his qualifying runs.
And nicely done once more from Liam. We wait on that score. And an 86.8, so betters that 83.7. Move ahead to Vladislav Yakulovich in his second round. 83.5 currently on the board. On his teammate as he throws it in. Fires off. Leaves outside 2 just a little bit early there, but grabs all of 3. Out to 4. Nicely done there. Tons of angle. Throws it into 5. A little bit outside of 5 and the inside clip. Makes this next transition. Grabbing 8. And it out to 9. A little bit of left foot brake there. Tons of angle there to get it back to the inside. And his final transition coming up a little bit short of that outside zone. Works it back out to the outside and across that finish line.
And Vladislav with that mistake right at the end. You kind of saw the way the car wanted to pitch, almost like it wanted to over-rotate on him, but he caught it, held it, and ends up bettering his score by 1 point with an 84.5 as we come to our final driver of Group 1 before Group 2 loads in, and we get going with Group 2. It'll go by fast, so don't go anywhere for the VDC finale, the final round of qualifying. Reese Tatterson on track right now, going a little wide for outer zone 2, sitting on an 81.8, down into outer zone 3, making the transition into outer zone 4. Nice job on the transition there, but goes a little wide for that outside zone, which puts him just a little bit off of that inside clip. Now down to the next transition, outer zone 7, down towards 8. Still a little shallow for 8 as he grabs the inside clip nicely. But can he make up for it here for 9 and 10? He does, as he comes through the final outer zone and gets some more points on the board.
Yeah, I think overall better than his previous run. Yeah, 84.7 on the board as he goes for a little victory lap and then almost goes into the wall there. We saw it. So that'll do it for group number 1. We'll load in group number 2. So Masashi at the top with his 93.2 and Braden Swan also with a 93.2. Masashi having a higher, lower score there. And then Austin Zalewski returning to us and putting himself in that 3rd position there for group number 1. So again, we'll let group number 2 load in, get a couple of practice runs in, and then we'll send them off. Also looks like 43 drivers made it today for our final round of season number 10. So it seems everyone will be safe for battles, just whether or not they'll lock themselves into that top 32, as the top 28 are locked into the tomorrow's top 32 main event, and then at 28 through 44 are placed into that last 16 qualifying battles. So we'll have one bye run for that last 16 qualifying battles later on today. All right. Luciano Canero now at the line, ready to go for his first run here for round 6. And firing it in. Almost grabbing a piece of that wall and filling outside zone number 2. Now to 3. Right along that white line. A little bit deep for 4 there as he makes this transition. Almost in the wall. Goes really wide there as well. And ends up wide for that first inside clip. Next outside zone. Working out to clip number 8 now. Deep there. Now out to 9. Deep there as well. And that next inside clip. Final transition right along the little yellow line there. Filling that zone. And across the finish line. Nicely done from Luciano.
Luciano coming out for the first run there. Thought he was going to go into that wall for sure, but he somehow stayed off of it. An 84 on the board. As we move over to Nick Hang in that Ford Cosworth. Oh, beautiful car. Loved seeing it all season here. Let's see what he throws down for run number 1. Initiates in, snappy initiation at angle. Grabs the left foot brake as he comes up the hill. Down towards outer zone 3, looking good so far. Makes the transition to outer zone 4, now to outer zone 5. Eventually makes his way all the way up to the top of that white line. Now through that inside clip, looking good through it. Nick Hang putting the car where it needs to be in the latter half of the course. Comes through the inside clip. Now makes the transition to the final 2 outer zones. And makes it work. Good job from Nick Hang.
A solid run from Nick. Really throwing that car into outside zone number 1. Off that initiation and a 90.7 on the board. A little bit out of order there. That's all right. Simon Sandman is now at the line, ready to go. And down the run up, flying over the little hump on initiation and grabbing outside zone number 2 as well. Right along that white line for 3 and bunch of angle for 4 as he throws it into 5 now. Works it back out to that white line and trying to get it down to the inside clip, but ends up wide for it. Next transition, smooth and filling 8 now. Working his way out to 9, right along that white line as well. Tight on that inside clip. Last and final zone here. And across that finish line, maybe crossing over that white line a little bit early.
Yeah, a little early, and then not filling all of outer zone 4. A few small mistakes, nothing that can't be fixed up for run number 2 as we wait for his final score to come in, 87.5. Now at the line is Martinez Ostreka. Just had to wait a little longer. I know it's qualifying. We want to get it done. But hey, there's an order to things. Martinez Ostreka out on track. Initiates in right along the wall off of outer zone 1. Almost going too deep for outer zone 2, but managing to keep it right along that track edge as he comes through outer zone 3. Now the transition of 4 going a little wide for 4. Transitioning back to outer zone 5. Puts it on the white line. Just grabs that inside clip a little further than the middle line, but holding it nicely through outer zone 7 and 8. Grabs the next inside clip beautifully. Throws it into outer zone 9, coming around for 10. Gets up early as he leaves it and crosses that finish line.
Yeah, nicely done from Martinez. In the BMW new livery. These RTW liveries are sick. 83.7 on the board. We work our way now to Olivier. Olivier down the run up, throwing it in and firing it off. Maybe leaving outside zone 1 a little bit early. Grabs 2 to 3. Good transition there. Out to 5, grabbing that throttle early. Does seem to fall off the back of the zone just a little bit there. Making that next transition, filling 7 all the way out to 8, almost grabbing that wall. And 9 as well. Driving it back to the inside, but ends up on the outside of that next inside clip, grabbing that zone there. Back out to the outside, grabbing that white line across that finish line. Solid run from Olivier.
Olivier's first run of qualifying comes in at an 86.8. Not a shabby start to your runs as we move over to Robert Kivsvinsky sitting at the line. Well, the lights quickly go on and off he goes, firing out of the gate like a rocket. Initiates in, looks good through outer zone 1. Nice and smooth initiation as he comes through outer zone 2 down to outer zone 3. Makes the transition to 4. Quickly snaps it back for outer zone 5, making it work and grabbing that inside clip nicely. Looking dialed here for Robert as we come through the next section of the course, the latter half down to outer zone 8, now through that inside clip and towards 9. Could have been just a little bit deeper into 9, but a nice drive up for 10, holding onto that white line beautifully to cross the finish.
Yeah, nicely done from Robert in the little 8.6. And an 87.2 on the board for Robert. Now Russell Jones. His 8.6. The run up, throwing it in. Nice and conservative here as he works out to outside zone number 2 now. Whoa! Are not happy with the bumps there. He gets it back together here for outside zone number 5, working back down to the inside. Grab 7. Good line there out to 8, maybe a little bit deeper there. Grabs 9 though, right along that track edge. Height to the inside clip, final transition. Nice and smooth, grabbing 11, now out to 12. Ooh, and crossing the finish line. Did cross over that white line just a little bit early there. That final outside zone, but overall, a bad run from Russell.
Yeah, Russell Jones, a couple things to clean up for run number 2, 79.8 on the board, but he still gets a second run to get it done. Juan and Jorquez sitting at the line. First run of qualifying. Lights go on and off we go. Down straight, initiates in. Snap to angle initiation through outer zone 1 up the hill to outer zone 2. Looking good so far as he fills all of outer zone 3, holding some nice angle, making the transition for outer zone 4. Now into 5, goes really deep. Keeps it off the wall though and doesn't miss that inside clip. Manages to drive back down towards it. Through outer zone 6 and 7 now, looking good into 8 right along the line. Getting it together here on the second half of the course. That first half might hurt his score as he has one final run up to that outer zone and cross the line.
Bad run from Juan as well. 80.7 on the board. Linus Torkfist now ready to go. His first run of the day. Here's the chicane, he's off. And awake. Flying out to outside zone number 2. Coming up maybe a little bit short of 3. Grabs 4 though. Tons of angle there as well. Is within that box there for flip 5. A little bit wide to the inside as he makes that next transition for 7. Good line out to 8, but falls up a little bit shallow as well. Grabs 9. Perfect for the inside clip. Final transition coming up just a little bit short of 11 as well. 12. And across that finish line.
We wait for one more score to come in for Linus. There it is, an 82.8 on the board for Linus, so not a bad start to the first runs. Ernestus Ukulibis sitting at the line, waiting to go. One more driver after Ernestus before we go back up to the top and do it all again for the second half of their runs. Initiating in for Ernestus, looks good through outer zone 1 and outer zone 2, holding a nice line and angle through outer zone 3. Makes the transition work for outer zone 4. Now the quick snap back for outer zone 5. Maybe could have been just a little deeper through outer zone 5, but nice and tight around that inside clip. Makes the transition work for outer zone 6. Now down to 7. And 8, filling all of 8 beautifully. Grabs inside clip 2. Now for outer zone 9. Looking solid here for Ernestus Ukulibis, putting the car where it needs to go. See what kind of score he gets from our judges.
And a 90.8 on the board for Ernestus. Only a few of them in the 90s today so far. Here at the end of group number 2 in their first runs. Here's Samuel Cuddy. Drawing that car in, filling outside zone number 1, working out to the outside. Outside 2, 3 as well. Whoa, and tons of angle for 4. He keeps it going though. Fills 5. Grabbing that inside clip. Throwing a ton of angle there as well. Nice and snappy for that transition. Working out to 9. All the way out there to that track edge as well. A little bit wide of the inside. Down to 11. Working it back out to the outside. And across that finish line. Goodness gracious.
Samuel Cuddy really going for it on run number 1. Just throwing caution to the wind and saying, I'm just going to send it. And send it he did. As we wait for his score to come in 86.3 for his first run of qualifying. As now we go back up to the top of the list. Luciano Canero sits at the line. Current score is an 84. Look at some of the other scores. Gonna want to improve that, but as we saw from group 1, well, should be all improvements from here on out. Initiates in for Luciano. Looks good through outer zone 1 and 2, right to that white line as he comes down 3. Makes the transition to outer zone 4. Now into 5. Doesn't go as wide this time. Holds it together. Through that inside clip, down to outer zone 6. Now towards 7. Making quick work of the track, but putting the car where it needs to go. As he comes through that inside clip, makes transition towards outer zone 9. Now the final transition, the final outer zone, his final run of qualifying. Luciano Canero finishes it out.
Yeah, nicely done from Luciano. And another 90 on the board. 90.3. We head to Nick Hang on the line, ready to go. That'll put Luciano in 5th position here in group number 2. Lights are on, he's ready to go. On the car in there. Working out to the outside. Maybe leaving 2 just a little bit early. Dealing with the bumps there. They done for 4 as well. A little bit wide for 5. Gets it back into the box and down to that inside clip. Smooth on his transition there for 7. A little bit on the outside there. Grabbing 8. Working out to 9. And along that track edge. Final transition nice and smooth down the little mini hill there. Working back up through that final zone and across that finish line.
Well, Nick Hang really hanging it all out there. And hanging it out there he does. 92.5 on the board. Bettering is 90.7. So now we move over to Simon Sandman sitting on that 87.5. Like I said, the trend of improvement for run number 2 here so far is continuing as Simon Sandman fires it into outer zone 1. Comes up towards outer zone 2. Drawing a nice arc down to outer zone 3 as the car's really stable over those bumps. Quick transition to get it back to outer zone 5. Thought he was going to hit the wall there, and he doesn't. Keeps it right to it. As he comes to that inside clip, makes the next transition to outer zone 6. Now through 7. Maybe could have been a bit deeper through 7, but beautifully grabs number 8 into that inside clip. And then the final transition. One last outer zone to go. Stays on throttle all the way through to the finish. Simon Sandman finishes out his qualifying.
Yeah, nicely done on run number 2. Will it be enough to better the 87.5? Another 90 on the board. That'll put Simon in 5th position here in group number 2. Martinez back at the line. 83.7 currently on the board. Any better here? Throws it in. Out to the outside for 2. Grabbing 3 as well. Solid line through turn number 1. Grabbing 4. Into 5, a little bit deep. Gets it back into the box. And get it down to that inside clip. Almost. Next transition for 7. Really wide now. Out to 8. Right along that trek edge for 9 as well. A little bit wide of the inside clip. Final transition. Tons of angle there. Over the crest, out to the outside, and across that finish line. So very minor little things there from Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez sitting on that 83.7. And looking at that run, that should improve it. And improve it, it does by almost 3.1 points. 86.8 on the board for run number 2. Now we'll move over to Olivier. Olivier sitting on that 86.8. Ready to go for his last run of qualifying. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Grabs outer zone 1 nicely. Up towards outer zone 2. Drawing a nice arc to outer zone 3. Holding that angle all the way through. Makes a transition into outer zone 4. Quick snap back for outer zone 5. Draws it nicely to that inside clip. Makes the transition nice and smooth into outer zone 6 and 7. Now to fill all of 8. He does. Grabbing that inside clip, maybe just a little wide of it, but filling all of outer zone 9. Now the last outer zone to go, all the way up to the top of the line and finishing out the run.
And an 88.5. So all of these drivers improving on their scores here in their second runs. Robert at the line, and he keep it going. 87.2 currently on the board. He's off. Initiating in, maybe a little bit safer this time on run number 2. Outside zone number 3 now, right along that white line. A little bit shallower for 4. He fires it into 5 now. Along that white line, back down to the inside. Nicely done from Robert. A transition for 7, maybe a tiny bit late there. Grabs 8 and works his way out to 9. Perfect on the inside clip once more. Up a little bit shallow of 11, and now filling 12, crossing that finish line, trying to better the 87.2. Will it be enough?
I think it's going to be close. There's a couple more mistakes there than run number 1, but we'll see what happens. 88.7 beats it by just a point and a little bit more. Now the next 8.6 driver sitting on an 80.7. Well, Russell Jones is ready to go for his second run. Sorry, that's a 79.8 here for Russell Jones. Fires it into outer zone 1, comes up over the hill for outer zone 2. This is where it all went wrong last run. Got unsettled on those bumps, but not this time around, but goes really wide for outer zone 4. Makes up for it for outer zone 5. Gets that inside clip nicely. Makes a transition to outer zone 6. Drives it towards outer zone 7. Filling 7 nicely. And filling 8 nicely. So far, so good for the latter half of the course here for Russell Jones. So he maybe goes a little too wide there for outer zone 9. Drives it home to the finish. Nicely done from Russell Jones.
Yeah, solid run indeed. 86.3 for for run number 2. Round to Wannen. 80.7 currently on the board. He keep it going as well, improving these scores. Nicely done for his initiation, filling outside zone number 1, 2 as well. And grabbing 3. First transition, filling 4. Now into 5, coming up a little bit shallow. Has to make a correction there to fill that zone. Coming up a little bit wide of that inside as well. Now working out to 8. All the way out there to that white line for 9 as well. Driving it back to the inside. Having 11. Firing it back off. Working it back out to the outside for the final zone. And crossing the finish line.
We wait for the scores for Juanen to come in and an 85.7. Another improvement on the board. 82.8 is what Linus Tornquist sits on. Lights go on, and we'll see what he can do here for run number 2. Initiates in, looks good off the initiation through outer zone 1. Drives it nicely towards outer zone 2 and down towards outer zone 3, holding good angle all the way through. Now the transition at outer zone 4 and 5. Very clean. Could have been a little... Worked his way up there through outer zone 5, but he grabs the inside clip nicely. Towards outer zone 6. Brings it out to 7. Filling all of 8 as well. Looking good in this part of the course. Linus gets through that second to last outside zone. Drives it up the hill. And across the line.
Yeah, I'm trying to better the 82.8. And he does. 85.8 now on the board for Linus Tornquist. Now to Ernestes. 90.8 currently on the board. And he keeps the improvements going. As he fires it in, he's going after it. Here in outside zone number 1. Filling 2 as well. And 3. A big transition for 4. Tons of angle into 5 now. Could have been a little bit deeper. Leaves it a little soon. Grabs that inside clip though. Through that next transition for 7. And out to 8. Having every bit of that zone. 9 as well. Done on that inside. Grabbing 11. Final zone coming up here. Could have been a little bit deeper before crossing that finish line.
Ernestes wanting to improve that 90.8, and he manages to do so even with the small mistakes that we saw there. The 91.7 on the board. So we come to our final driver of Group 2. 2 more groups of qualifying to go. Samuel Cuddy sits at the line with an 86.3. Can he improve and grab a 90? Let's see what happens. Samuel Cuddy initiates in, right to angle, touches the wall. He understeers, and he'll have to back out of it. No, I feel like that was all my fault.
It is all your fault, man.
The commentator's curse strikes again.
You did. No, it's it should be all right. 86.3. He'll have to hang on to, and we'll have to wait and see what that cutoff score is going to be like. Let's check out our current top 8 there. Masashi still on top with that 93.2 on the board. Braden Swan also with a 93.2, and then Nick Hang round out our top 3 after 2 groups of qualifying. 92.5 on the board for Nick. We'll take a short break here from our wonderful partners and sponsors, and we'll be right back with our next groups of qualifying. Don't go anywhere.
some mind, never tried, tell them all. Big dreams, I got big dreams, just like baby. I've been joining forces with the likes of an A-G. Jumping off of buildings used to be so stimulating. Now I'm reaching new heights, I'ma leave the arch.
All right, we're back here for more qualifying. 2 groups of qualifying have been completed. Take a look at those. Well, let's refresh that page and take a look at our top qualifiers so far. Masashi at the top at 93.2. Braden also with a 93.2, and Nick Hang at 92.5. For our current top 3 qualifiers. This group 3 is now loaded in. They're getting a couple of practice runs in before we send them off. Yes, absolutely. The layout will be available after the round has been completed. You can go and grab the track now from the Drift Mansion website, but it will not include this layout B from the Virtual Drift Championship. It will, however, have layout A if you want to grab that. If you haven't already, you definitely should. We go to David Latsko at the line, ready to go for his first run. We're in our final round of season 10. David's off. Initiating in and filling outside zone number 1. Now 2. On a good line out to 3. First transition here. A little bit wide of 4. Next transition and grabbing 5. Riding that white line and down to the inside clip. A little bit wide of it. Making that next transition for 7. Filling 7. Now out to 8. A little bit shallow. Now out to 9. Right along track edge. Grabbing that inside clip. And final transition is nicely done over the crest. Out to the final zone and across that finish line. Nicely done from David.
Yeah, David starting out Group 3 strong, 85.3 on the board. But next in line, well, our current leader in the championship points, Daniel Andreev. Looking to secure that win here today. But it all comes down to qualifying first. Initiates into outer zone 1. Quick initiation. Right through it, through outer zone 2. Holding nice angle through outer zone 3. Makes the transition now to outer zone 4 and switches back for outer zone 5, but goes wide around outer zone 5. Manages to drive it back down into that inside clip, and now through outer zone 6 and 7, filling 7 nice out. And now through 8, grabbing that next inside clip. One last transition to go. He's dialed in now. That one little mistake, though, as he crosses the finish line.
Overall, solid run from Daniel, and that is going to put him in number 1 position. 95.2 on the board for Daniel Andreev, our current season leader. Vitaly, teammate right behind him. And off for run number 1. Throwing it in there, filling outside zone number 1. Quite a lot of left foot brake there through that first zone, grabbing 2 and out to 3. Good on his first transition for 4 as well, filling that zone, now out to 5 along that white line. Gets it down to the inside clip nicely as well. Good transition for 7 right along that painted yellow. Would have been maybe a little bit deeper for 8, but perfect on 9. Grabbing the inside clip once more as well. Grabbing 11. Good line up to the final zone and across that finish line. Nicely done from teammate Vitaly Asov.
Yeah, Vitaly really throwing it down as well. Can he maybe match his teammate's score or beat it? And he does. Takes the top spot away from Daniel with a 95.7. Very good job indeed as we move over to William Holloway sitting at the line. Lights turn on and Williams' run of qualifying begins. Initiates in. Looks good off the initiation. Through outer zone 1, drives a nice line up towards outer zone 2. Holding the angle through to outer zone 3, maybe even just kissing the wall there. Hard to tell as he comes through outer zone 5 now. Keeps it right on that white line, drives off it and grabs it inside clip. Goes a little wide for it, but not too crazy. As he comes through outer zone 6 and fills all of 7 beautifully. Now towards outer zone 8. William Holloway doing a good job here. Really tight to that inside clip, though, out of outer zone 8, that second inside clip. Now for the final outer zone. Got up there high, right off the hop, but finishes out the run.
Yeah, a little bit wide there for 11. It sent him out super wide for that final zone. But an 80.2 on the board for William Holloway. Now, the other Ostraka, Darius, off for his first run of the day in the new car. Switching to the S14 and working his way out to outside zone number 2 now. Continuing on into 3. Good line through turn number 1. A little bit wide of 4, I believe. He works his way through 5 now. Filling that zone all the way tight to that inside clip. Makes a good transition there for 7. Keeping it going, filling 8. Filling 9 as well. Final transition, a little bit wide of 11. And filling the final outside zone, crossing that finish line, flying across that finish line. My goodness.
Yeah, lots of speed there from Darius at the end. The whole run looked very, very speedy. We'll see what he comes out with. An 88 for run number 2. Now we have Austin Mitchell. Another S14 sitting at the line. Ready to go, see what they can do for the first run of qualifying. Austin Mitchell initiates in, looks good on the initiation, up the hill towards outer zone 2, filling all of outer zone 2. Down, filling all of outer zone 3, holding his angle through it, but way wide off the transition for 4. I'm amazed he was able to even make 5 work as he comes through that inside clip now. Transitioning through outer zone 6, down towards 7. Looking good here in the latter half of the course with only a few more outer zones to go. Goes way wide for outer zone 9 and then manages to recover it for outer zone 10, but he's definitely gonna have to clean this run up for run number 2.
Yeah, seemed to go wide on a lot of places throughout the course, and that'll be a 78.3 on the board for Austin Mitchell. Now, Econ Pileski off for his first run. Initiates in, grabbing outside zone number 1, working out to the outside for 2. 3 as well, right along that white line. Good transition for 4. Whoa, and then goes wide for 5, right along the wall. Grabbing that inside clip, continuing on. That next transition. Filling 8 as well. Getting it together after the mistake for 5. Final transition down to 11, coming up a little bit short. Working his way back out to the outside and filling that final zone.
Deacon Pileski, our number 2, the second position in the championship points right now, ending up with an 88.2. So definitely going to have to improve in run number 1 if he wants a chance at that title tomorrow during battles. Cameron Mustard leaving the line in the A90 Supra, initiating in. Looking good through outer zone 1, holding it nicely through outer zone 2. Not letting the bumps upset the car as he leaves outer zone 3, transitions through outer zone 4. Snappy transition to outer zone 5. Almost went wide of it, but manages to drive it down and grab that inside clip. Transitioning to the next outer zone, driving down, holding a nice arc as he comes through outer zone 8. Tight to the inside clip as he makes the transition for outer zone 9. Pushes out to the white line for the final outer zone, finishes out the run.
Solid run from Cameron Mustard. Did really well in round number 5. 88.5 on the board for Cameron. Here's Jordy Lopez. Now at the line, ready to go, and his Z4. Lights are on, and he's gone. Bring it in. A little bit conservative on the initiation. Over the hump and filling outside zone number 2. Filling 3 now. That first transition filling 4 into 5. Right along that white line, filling outside zone number 5. A little bit wide of his first inside clip. Good transition for 7. And now out to 8. All the way out there, filling outside zone number 9 across that inside clip. Ooh. A little bit rough over the hill and across that finish line. Nicely done from Jordy Lopez.
Not a bad run indeed there from Mr. Lopez, an 87.8 for run number 1. So not a bad score at all, seeing how today's been. Alexander Yegard sits at the line. 2 drivers left here for the first runs. Then we go back up to the top. Do it all over again. Alexander Yegard initiates in. Really early initiation, maybe missing outer zone 1, if not very deep into it, but he manages to grab all of outer zone 2. Has to work that car all the way out to outer zone 3 as he makes the transition for 4 work. The transition for 5 is wide and right against the wall. Manages to drive it down though and grab that inside clip nicely, and making the transition for 6 work as well as 7. Filling all of it and all of 8 as well. Starting to settle down now as he just goes wide for the second inside clip, but holds it together for outer zone 9. Now drives it home through outer zone 10 and finishes out his run.
Yeah, and a 75.2 on the board for Alexander Yegard. He drives back to the pit. Kevin Stump at the line, ready to go for his first run. And our last one here in group number 3 before we head back to their second runs. There's Kevin throwing it into outside zone number 1. Leaves it early. Doesn't quite fill outside zone number 2, but fills 3. Big angle for 4. Picking up throttle early. Staying in outside zone number 5. And that inside. Smooth on his transition there. But conservative on that throttle, trying to grip that car up for 8. Gets all the way out there for 9. Grabbing that inside clip as well. A little bit shallow of 11 and working back out to the outside. Gets there a little bit late, crosses that finish line.
So an 82.8 there for Kevin Stump's first run of qualifying. And with that, we jump back around to the top of the board. David Laxko will be coming up to the line next. To start off the second half of the runs, sitting on an 85.3. As we've seen the trend in the last two groups, everyone's improved on run number 2. Let's see if it happens again here with group 3. David waits patiently for the lights to turn on. Long time sitting at the light here for David Laxko as he waits for it to come on. Again, sitting on an 85.3 for run number 1. There we go. The lights finally kick on and off we go. Initiates in, dances it. Maybe a little bobble there on the initiation as he doesn't want to hit the wall, but makes it through outer zone 1 nice and clean. Same with 2 and 3. Makes the transition work for outer zone 4. Now to outer zone 5, fills it nicely, drives it down, drives just about the middle of that inside clip as he makes the transition through the next outside zone down to outer zone 7. Fills all of 8, getting right out to that white line, doing a good job through the next inside clip. Thought he was going to go wide for outer zone 9, but holds it together, pushes up all the way to the finish, really laying on that throttle, wanting to improve on that score.
Yeah, going after it there in run number 2 from David. 85.3 currently on the board. And a 90.3 for David Laxko, who put him in 8th position, I believe. Here's Daniel Andreev, 95.2, currently sitting 2nd behind his teammate Vitaly. Initiating in, filling outside zone number 1, and grabbing 2. Nicely done for 3 as well. Good on his first transition, sweeps through outside zone number 4, grabbing 5, maybe dropping a little bit off the back of it, just barely, grabbing 7 now. Nicely done for 8. All the way out there for 9 as well. Nicely done on the inside clip. Final transition right along the little yellow line there. Back out to the outside once more for 12 and across the finish line.
Daniel Andreev almost leaving no room for error, wanting to improve that 95.2, but doesn't. 93.2. That'll keep him in 2nd place for now. Now his teammate, Vitaly Azayev, sitting at the line, our current number 1 qualifier on that 95.7. What does he do for run number 2? Will he improve? The lights go on and off he goes. Initiates in, early initiation, sliding it all the way through outer zone 1, going up the hill towards outer zone 2. Down towards 3, holding nice angle here as he leaves 3 to transition to 4. Snappy transition back to outer zone 5. Down towards that inside clip, grabbing it beautifully. Vitaly here on a tear on this run. Filling all of outer zone 8. Grabbing that next inside clip, making the transition perfectly. And well, a nice textbook run here from Vitaly Azayev as he finishes out qualifying.
Yeah, nicely done once more for Vitaly, trying to better the 95.7. Not to ask with this course and all of its lips. 95.5, falling just a bit shy. It will be a great tiebreaker score if he needs it later on. William Holloway back to the line, ready to go. 80.2 currently on the board. for William. And 43 drivers showing up today, so everyone will make battles, whether or not they're locked into tomorrow's top 32 main event. William fills outside zone number 2. Now to 3. They're having some connection issues here as he's a little twitchy throughout the course. Down to the inside clip, ends up wide of that first inside clip. Now out to 8. Yeah, really twitchy through the course here, filling 9. Grabbing that inside clip nicely. And 11 as well. Now out to the outside, last and final zone. And crossing that finish line for William Holloway.
Yeah, William Holloway. I'm happy you said something, Craig. I thought it was my computer on the fritz, but it wasn't. 71.7 for run number 2 for William. So he'll stay with that high score of that 80.2 from run number 1. Sitting on an 88 is Darius Ostraka here in his new car, the S chassis, the S14. Initiates in. Looks good off the initiation. Maybe a little bobble there as he tried to come up the hill, but made short work of it. Didn't make it look like it affected him at all as he leaves outer zone 3, transitions to outer zone 4. Smooth transition to outer zone 5. Holds that white line all the way around. Grabs the inside clip nicely. And now towards outer zone 6. Filling all of 7. And now to outer zone 8. Darius looking good here. Very tight to that inside clip as he makes the final transition. One last outer zone for his qualifying as he gets on that throttle and holds it all the way to the end. Darius Ostraka.
Trying to better that 88 he currently has on the board, and he does so, a 91.7 now on the board for Darius Ostraka. Wait for Austin Mitchell to come back to the line for run number 2. $78.3 currently on the board for Austin. Can he better it here and run number 2? Almost getting a piece of the wall there for outside zone number 1. A little bit shallow for 2, 3 as well. Big transition for 4 and makes a very similar mistake to his first run. A little bit off of 5 as well, going off the back of it. Maybe deep for 7 and shallow for 8. Comes up late for 9, and that's sending him just a little bit wide there. Wide once more for 11 as he throws it in there. And now across that finish line.
Yeah, Austin Mitchell there just giving it a lot of sauce, but car not working for him. 75.3 for run number 2. He'll keep that high score of the 78.3. Now to Tikhon Pileski. Second in the championship points, sitting on an 88.2, 15 points between him and Daniel Andreev. Can he claim the top spot here in qualifying? Initiates in, looks good off the initiation, right close that wall, up the hill towards outer zone 2. Now down into outer zone 3, holding that angle all the way through outer zone 4, making the transition to outer zone 5, keeping it on the white line, but goes a little wide for that inside clip. Now the transition to outer zone 6, holding a nice arc through 7. Tikhon wanting to improve, wanting to get better than that 88. The run looks like it could be better than an 88 as he drives it through that last outer zone and finishes out qualifying.
Good one for Tikhon, trying to better the 88.2, and he does a 96.8 on the board for Tikhon, and that puts him in that number 1 top spot position here for group number 3. Cameron Mustard, 88.5 currently on the board. Throwing it in, filling outside zone number 1. Abs 2 works his way through those bumps in between 2 and 3. Grabbing 4, could have been a little bit deeper for 4. Nicely done for 5 though, right along that white line. Perfect for the inside clip as well. Makes that next transition for 7 and grabs it out to 8 now. Right along that yellow line. Having 9 as well. Perfect for the inside clip. Final transition for Cameron Mustard. Coming up a little bit short of 11 and has to make a correction there for the final zone before crossing that finish line.
A few small mistakes there for Cameron Mustard in the second half. But his final score comes in at 88.8. He does manage to improve, if only by 0.3 of a point. Now, Jordy Jojo Lopez leaves the line sitting on an 87.8. Another driver wanting to improve, throws it into outer zone 1. Had to have touched the wall there as he bounced kind of off of it and up towards outer zone 2, but holding his angle through, so it didn't upset him as he leaves outer zone 4, transitions to 5. He is ripping through this course so quickly as he comes through that inside clip, nice and clean, right down the middle. Leaves outer zone 6, fills all of 7. Grabs all of outer zone 8 as well. No further mistakes here so far as he grabs all of 9. Now pushes out towards that white line and holds it there to the finish. Jordy going all or nothing on this run.
And he does better the score. So it had an 87.8 and now an 89 for Jordy Lopez. Alexander Yegard on that 75.2 for run number 1. A better here. Much better on that initiation. Coming up a little bit short of 2. Now grabbing 3 right along that white line. Filling 4 with a ton of angle. Grabs 5. Works his way down to the inside clip. A little bit tight to it. Makes that transition for 7. And along the outside for 8. Coming up a little bit late for 9, but grabs that next inside clip. Big snappy transition for 11. Back out to the outside one more time and across that finish line.
Well, he sat on a 75.2 and he cleaned it all up for run number 2. 90.2 on the board for Alexander Yegard. What an improvement into run number 2 is now. Our final driver of group number 3 gets the green light to start his second run of qualifying, none other than Kevin Stump, sitting on that 82.8. One more group in qualifying to go as he initiates it and has a bobble there off of initiation through outer zone 1, makes up for it through outer zone 2 as he continues to slide down towards outer zone 4, makes that transition, but not as wide through outer zone 5, and a big bobble and a big correction there through outer zone 5. Grabs the inside clip as he drives it through outer zone 6, down towards outer zone 7, holding a nice arc now to fill all of 8. Slowly adding in that angle to grab that inside clip. Goes wide though for outer zone 9. Kevin Stump putting it on the white line for the finish and at least finishing out the run.
Yeah, that final transition ending up wide early as he drives into basketball court and now into the pool. He's going for a swim and ends up with a 71.7 on the board. So 3 groups of qualifying are now completed. We'll pull up our top qualifying scores there. Econ now on top with that 96.8, 95.7 for Vitali, 95.2 for Daniel Andreev. We load in group number 4, let him get a couple of practice runs in. We'll take a look at our current top 32 standings before heading into this final round. Daniel Andreev on top with that 317, Tikhon Pileski with 302, and Alan Hines with 298 for your current top 3, but all the way down to 6 has a chance at season 10's championship position. Insane.
Absolutely insane. It's close and it's only gonna get crazier. Like Econ, at first I was like, oh, he might not qualify that well, and then he came out of nowhere, grabs the top spot. Daniel Andreev now only in 3rd for so far in the competition, but now coming up in group 4, we have Alan Hines, we have Nico Stalea, we have many of the other drivers that are still well within this fight.
Yeah, and then tomorrow, main event, top 32, anything can go down. There should be last call for those drivers, and here comes Lucas Pasquini for his first run here in group number 4. Our final group qualifying before we head on into our last 16 qualifying battles. Lucas off for run number 1. Like we got a missing box too. Someone's missing from the server list, and he grabs a piece of the wall, has to make a big correction, grabs the wall again at 2. Now out to 3, barely stays off of it there. Grabs 4 with a ton of angle, keeping things going here. Versus way out to the outside for 5, a little late. Grabs the inside clip, and 7 as well. Out to 8, right along that yellow line, just inside the white one. Nicely done on that last inside. Grabbing 11. And across that finish line for Lucas.
Lucas Pasquini there. That was a scary moment coming into outer zone 2. He hit that wall, locked up those brakes, then went, I need throttle, and got back on it, and it managed to save his run, and he ends up with a 68.3 for run number 1. Victor Alves next to leave the line for the final group of qualifying for season 10. He makes it through outer zone 1 and 2 nice and clean. Beautifully done through outer zone 3 as well. Nice transition right to angle, almost 90 off of that transition out of outer zone 4. Grabbing all of outer zone 5. Nicely done through that inside clip. Victor Alves looking dialed in here as he comes towards outer zone 7. He didn't fill all of outer zone 7. We're just going to put him shallow for 8 as well, but manages to get that inside clip as he drives it off for outer zone 9. And out of the final outer zone 12, and finishes out his run.
And an 80.8 on the board for Victor. Here's Alan Hines. This RTR Mustang. Team Hinesy. Initiating in and filling outside zone number 1. Maybe driving off of it just a tad early. Grabbing 2. Now working out to 3. Grabbing 4. Smoothly over the crest. And filling outside zone number 5. Grabs that inside clip as well. Now 7. Dodging that throttle. Getting out to 8, but a little bit shallow. Grabbing 9. Just barely grabbing that inside clip. A little bit shallow of 11. Final zone now. And crossing that finish line a little bit wide for Alan Hines.
Yeah, Alan Hines with a couple mistakes there throughout his run, earning him a 92.2. We'll see what happens in run number 2 if he can challenge our top qualifier of T-Con Pileski. Now, Alex Rogachev sits at the line. And the lights go on and off he goes for his first run of qualifying. Initiates in. Good initiation right to angle out of outer zone 1. Holding that extreme angle through outer zone 2. Now down to 3. Filling all of outer zone 4. Snappy transition towards outer zone 5. Goes a little bit wide of it though. Drops it back down. Gets about the middle of that inside clip. Now through outer zone 6. Down towards 7. Filling both of those nicely. Stays on that angle through all of it, gets right and tight to that close to that inside clip as he drives it to the final outer zone and finishes out the run.
Yeah, Alex Rogachev for run number 1. We now see that top 28 cutoff score, an 85.7. Alex is safe with that 87.5 on the board. Again, those top 28 drivers are locked into tomorrow's top 32 main event. The rest of them will be placed into the last 16 qualifying battles, and Oliver coming up short outside zone number 2, maybe 3 as well. But grabs 4 and a little bit shallow for 5. Height to that inside clip as well. Grabs 7, works it out to 8. A little bit shallow there as well. Makes a correction for 9. Nicely done on that inside clip number 2, and a little bit too much angle over the crest. Coming up into the final zone a little bit late and across that finish line.
Had to make a quick adjustment there at the end. It ends up with a score of 83.2. Now we have Augusto Ferreira at the line. Changed his livery since the last time I saw him, and it looks good. Initiating in that R34 through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2. Now he was suffering from VR issues, so it's good to see him here for qualifying. He comes through outer zone 4, maybe a little too wide out of outer zone 4. Tries to put it right on that white line, maybe just hung the tire over it. As he comes through that inside clip, nice and tight. Through outer zone 6 down to 7. Now through 8, holding a nice line here as he has one last transition to go, 2 more outer zones to go. Augusto gonna get it up there onto the white line and finishes out his run.
Yeah, just a couple of things here and there from Augusto. His first run, I don't know where he decided to go there, but he gets a 90.7 on the board. That's why he's got VR issues. Here's Nico Stalea. His first run. Another RTR Mustang with Team Heinze. Initiating in. Nicely done from Nico. Tons of angle through 1, 2 as well. Works his way up to 3 right along that white line. Making that first transition. Ton of angle through 4 into 5 as well. Snappy transition as he works it down to the inside now. Just a little bit wide of that center line. Smooth transition for 7. And now out to 8. Nicely done on 8 as well. Keeping things going with a strong run. Here is Nico right along the edge of 11. And across that finish line. Nicely done from Nico.
Nico wanting to challenge the top. He beats out his teammate Alan Hines, 93.7 on the board. We'll see what happens in run number 2. Now, at the line, Brett Wolford, another RTR driver for Team Heinze. Initiating in, looks good off the initiation. Through outer zone 1, little shallow there for outer zone 2 as he drives it down towards 3, maybe a little shallow for 3 as well. Filling all of 4, makes the transition now into outer zone 5, keeps it right on that white line as he gets through that inside clip quite nicely. Now through outer zone 6 to fill all of outer zone 7 and 8 as well. Next inside clip done nicely. Brett Wolford looking good out here in the RTR Mustang and throws it through to the finish.
Yeah, nicely done from Brett. He was looking solid all through practice yesterday. And pretty good here in his first run. Couple of mistakes here and there. Drove off 1 maybe a little early. But a 91.2 on the board for Brett Wolford. Victor Lacheris is now on the line ready to go for his first run. Now an 86.3 required to make it into tomorrow's top 32 main event. Victor fills outside zone number 2 now. Good first transition, a long 4 sweeping through it, a little bit wide for 5. It's down there Do that inside clip. Good transition for 7 as well. Nice and smooth. Works it out to 8, but comes up way shallow in the middle of the box there. A little bit shallow for 9 as well. But grabs that next inside clip. Final transition right along the edge of that penultimate outside zone and across that finish line.
Victor ending with an 80.5. Some things to clean up for run number 2. Now we're at the last driver of group number 4, our final group here of qualifying before we go back up to the top to start the second half of their runs. Yaroslav Veseleo leaves the line and initiates in. Looks good off the initiation. Very quick initiation as he comes up the hill towards outer zone 2, holding that angle all the way down towards outer zone 3. Now the transition to 4, filling it nicely. Quick transition to outer zone 5. Drives down it just a little bit off that white line as he comes through the inside clip about the midway point. Now through the next outer zone, going wider than most of the other drivers have into outer zone 7, but kind of drives off it a bit early. Now into 8 and through the next inside clip, makes the transition towards outer zone 9, fills it beautifully. And one more to go for Yaroslav here as he drives it through the finish.
Yeah, solid run from Yaroslav there as we wait on those scores and an 88.8 on the board. Back around, Lucas. Pasquini at the line, ready to go. Now through the chicane. Out that 68.3, drives off 1 a little bit soon, gets out to 2. And stays off those walls this time. 3, now 4, tons of angle there. Big switchback for 5, filling it all the way there. Down to the inside clip, nicely done from Lucas. Filling 7 as well. All the way out there to 8. Down to 9 as well. Good for the inside clip, strong run here. Grabbing 11. Just does get out there to that outside for the last and final zone. Nicely done from Lucas.
Yeah, that'll definitely improve Lucas's score and probably the score he wanted at the beginning. A 93 on the board for Lucas Pasquini. Very good job indeed as we move over to Victor Alves sitting at the line on that 80.8. Gonna want to improve, wants to be above that 86 to 87 mark. Now initiates in, looks good off the initiation through outer zone 1, really pushes it up to the top of that hill to grab outer zone 2, a small correction as he came into outer zone 3. Now through 4, into outer zone 5, puts it on the white line, puts 1 tire over it, tries to drive it down through that inside clip, gets the halfway point. Now through outer zone 6, gotta fill all of outer zone 7, I don't think he quite did. A little shallow there for outer zone 8. And really tight to the inside clip there. Manages to make up for it through outer zone 9. Almost looking like a replica of his last run, but a few things were cleaned up. We'll see what the judges decide for a score. People are loving that pool.
I mean, it is pretty sick. 82.2 on the board for Victor Alves. Alan Hines quickly off the line and initiating in, filling 1, grabbing 2, now out to 3, flying through turn number 1, comes up shallow of 4, makes the transition for 5 now, a little bit shallow there as well, right to the inside clip. 7 now working out to 8. Right along the line for 9. Grabbing that inside clip. Shallow for 11 as well. Working out to the outside once more. And across that finish line really wide once more for Alan Hines.
Yeah, and only 4 points behind in the championship from Tikhon Pileski, ends up with a 91.7, so maybe not the qualifying he was hoping for, but hopefully he can make up for it in the battles as we move over to Alex Rogachev sitting on that 87.5. Qualifying's quickly coming to an end here before we move into our last 16 battles through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2. Now through 3, holding a nice arc throughout all of those outer zones. Makes the transition work through outer zone 4 into outer zone 5. Looking nice and clean for Alex Rogachev here so far. Transitioning to outer zone 6. Holding that angle. Wanting to fill all of outer zone 8, which he manages to do, and drives it through that inside clip very nicely. Maybe a little wide there for outer zone 9. He drives up the hill. Puts through to the finish.
Now trying to better the 87.5 and doubles it. Gets another 87.5 on the board. Still safe for tomorrow's top 32. Here's Oliver Evinger. 83.2 and shy of that top 28. Qualifying or needed, and he drives off of 1 really early. Doesn't feel it, doesn't feel 2 either. Drives off 3 early as well. Makes that transition for 4. Happy transition into 5. Was flying in there. Really tight to the inside clip. And now out to 8. Filling 8 all the way. A little bit shallow of 9. Nicely done on that inside clip. Final transition here, grabbing 11, working out to the outside now. And nicely done for that final outside zone.
Yeah, poor Oliver with that big upset when he did his initiation. It looks like the car just gripped up and it drove him right offline. He ends up with a 70.5 for run number 2. Now, next driver up, sitting on a 90.7, Augusto Ferreira. In the R34. Initiating in. Looks good off the initiation. Maybe a bobble there as he came up towards outer zone 2. Holds it together though for outer zone 3. Maybe a little shallow through outer zone 3, but fills all of outer zone 4. Makes transition to outer zone 5. Goes way wide though. Touches the wall. It doesn't upset him too much though. I think his hopes of grabbing another 90 on this run are gone as he comes through outer zone 6 or 7, now 8, making up for it a little bit here as he tries to keep it dialed in. Augusto pushing to the finish line. We'll see what his second score is.
A little bit of a wreck there to finish off the run, but trying to better the 90.7, but falling quite shy with an 82.5, but still in tomorrow's top 32 main event, locked in with his 90.7. Here's Nico Stelea. 93.7 on the board for Nico. Firing that Mustang in. Having outside 2. 3 as well. A little bit wide for 4. Hanging on to it a little bit long, but perfect for 5. Down to the inside, a little bit wide of that center line. Nice on 7. He works it out to 8 now, all the way out there, filling 8. Filling 9 as well. Nicely done on that line out to 9. A little bit tight to the inside. Final transition right along 11. Out to the outside once more, following the white line and across that finish line. Nicely done. Finish out his second run.
So Nico wanting to improve that 93.7, doesn't, but it's a good tiebreaker score of a 92.3. As Brett Wolford is ready to go for his second run of qualifying. 2 drivers after Brett Wolford before we go into our last 16. 91.2 is what he sits on for run number 1. Initiates in right along the wall as he comes through outer zone 1. Maybe went too wide for outer zone 1 as he makes it work through outer zone 2 and 3. Quick transition through 4. And now sets himself up for outer zone 5. Brings 1 tire over that white line as he comes through the inside clip around the halfway mark, just a little wide through outer zone 6, and not quite filling all of 7, but manages to fill all of 8 as he slowly adds that angle in for that next inside clip, and now goes shallow for outer zone 9. 1 last outer zone to go. Tries to follow that white line all the way through, and we'll see what score he gets.
Driving on the other side of that white line just a little bit before crossing that finish line, and 88 on the board, so he'll hang on to his 91.2. Here's Victor Lacheris for his second run, 80.5 currently on that board. Needs to better it if he wants to lock himself into the last 16 qualifying battles, and he over rotates into outside zone number 1, keeping things going, filling 3, a little bit shallow for 4, and fires that car into 5 now, driving down to the inside clip. Grabbing 7 now, a little bit shallow there as well, coming up way short of 8. Somehow gets out to 9. Really tight to that inside, just driving right through the cone, direction out to the final outside zone and across that finish line. Victor really struggling through this course today.
Yeah, Victor not having a good day here in qualifying. 68.8 on the board. So he'll end up with that high score of an 80.5, and we'll see him in the last 16 is Yaroslav Veseleo, our final driver of qualifying for the season. Sets out for his second run of qualifying, sitting on an 88.8, fires it through outer zone 1, holding a nice angle through outer zone 2 as well, carrying a lot of speed now as he leaves through 3, makes that transition for 4, now into 5, high up, almost out of the zone there, onto the wall, through outer zone 5, nice and tight though around that inside clip, goes through the next outer zone, clean off the transition, maybe not filling all of outer zone 7, filling all of 8 though, right to that white line. Some mistakes here, some good points there as he drives through the second to last outer zone right along the line, grabs that white line for the finish as well.
Yeah, might hang on to that 88.8. Yeah, he will. 82.3 for run number 2. But with that 88.8, he is safe into tomorrow's top 32 main event. That'll, again, do it for traditional qualifying. We'll take a look at those top qualifying scores where Tikhon Pileski takes that top spot with that 96.8, Vitaly Asov 95.7, and then his teammate Daniel Andreev right behind him with a 95.2 for your top 3 qualifiers. So again, top 28 are locked into tomorrow's top 32 main event, all the way down there to Martinez Ostrika. And then from 29 through 44, well, 43 for today, are thrown into our last 16 qualifying battles, which are coming up next. So we'll take a very small break and be right back with some battles here on the Drift Mansion.
Never tried, tell them all. Big dreams, I got big dreams, just like baby. I've been joining forces with the likes of an AG. Jumping off of buildings used to be so stimulating. Now I'm reaching new heights, I'ma leave the arsenal.
All right, we are back with our last 16 qualifying battles. Our first group is loaded in, getting some practice runs in. Let's take a look at our bracket for the last 16 qualifying battles. Russell Jones, he gets a bye run, but is nowhere to be found on the server, so we'll have to wait and see if he's ready to go for the rest. I guess he'll have one more battle after that. The winner of Reese Tatterson and Vladislav Yakulovich, Linus Torfus and Victor Lacheris, Juan and Jorquez and Victor Alves, our first group, the left-hand side of the bracket, and then we'll work our way down the right-hand side of the bracket. And if you're just now joining us, we'll take a look at today's line map one more time. We've got a decel zone right there along that initiation, bunch of outside zones, 12 clips in total. Our next decel zone is down there just before clip number 5 after your Manji section. After that, drivers are expected to stay on throttle and cook through the course. Filling these outside zones, grabbing these inside clips. Inside clips are a little bit new. We want that lead wheel in the middle of the painted box on the ground there, a little middle line right through that box on your inside clips. And then outside zones, if there's a yellow line here, that's where we want those rear tires. If there's a white line, that's where we want the rear tires as well. No further outside of that, except for the end of clip number 12, or your last and final zone. You are allowed to go over on the outside of that painted white line once clip number 12 ends and finishes. Oh, they're taking a couple of practice runs. And then we'll send them off. Again, still no Russell Jones, so he's not there for his bye run. Not sure if we were gonna run the bye run either way. But I think it's gonna be Reese Tatterson and Vladislav Yakulovich to start things out for us.
Well, I believe that was last.
Yeah.
See, sometimes I hear the last calls too. So here we are with our first battle of the last 16, and whoever wins this actually goes straight on to the win, as Russell Jones can't make it to the last 8. So even though the bye run happened with Russell Jones, whoever wins this, well, they basically move straight into the first slot there of the last 16. So, Reese Tatterson in your lead lane in the Team Heinz, the RTR Mustang, up against Vladislav Yakulovich, chasing him down in the BMW. The lights go on, and here we go for the first battle of the last 16 of the last round of Season 10 of the Virtual Drift Championship as they fire through Outer Zone 1 and come up the hill through Outer Zone 2, wheel to wheel and door to door as they leave Outer Zone 3, just leaving enough room for the transitions is Vladislav Yakulovich, but quickly back up onto the door of Reese Tatterson. Now one transition to go into Outer Zone 6. Tatterson getting pushed through Outer Zone 6 and 7. Now through 8. He leaves a little bit of space, Vladislav, as they set up for the final transition, and maybe another bit of contact there as they left Outer Zone 9. Now through 10. They finish out that run side by side.
Yeah, solid start here. The battles for the final round. Reese filling outside zone number 1 there here on the replay. Vladislav applying pressure right along the bumper through that first transition. Vladislav preparing early for it. Works his way back into the pocket here for clip 5. Nicely done here as well. Yeah, maybe a little bit of contact there in between 7 and 8. Now down into 9. Wonderful pressure being applied from Vladislav. Pretty smooth lead out front from Reese Tatterson as well, and there they go, crossing that finish line. We go back to the start gate.
And back at the start gate, we have Vladislav Yakulovich now slotted into the lead lane. Reese Tatterson ready to chase him down. Winner of this moves on all the way Let's see what happens here. Vladislav initiating in, tons of speed as they come through outer zone 1. Reese Satterson had to try and catch up, maybe touching the door there as they came through outer zone 2. Down through outer zone 3, leaving enough room for that transition. Vladislav is looking good out from on the back foot a little bit. Is Reese Satterson trying to regain that proximity as now he gets on the door as they transition through outer zone 6. He starts to go wheel to wheel through outer zone 7. Tucks to the inside just a little bit to try and keep that line. Backs out of it now to reset up for outer zone 9. As they finish out wheel to wheel and door to door.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Vladislav out front this time, initiating in and already pulling a gap on Reese down the run up. Reese, maybe some contact there. Might have been one of those bumps as well into outside zone number 2. Continuing on a little bit wide of 4 is Vladislav. Nicely done for 5, but Reese is a little bit on the inside there for 5. Then here, making a dive, ends up a little bit on the inside once more. And then a big correction from Reese in that chase position. Through that next inside clip. Final zone now, working it out to the outside. Reese trying to apply some pressure and go across that finish line. And we go to our judges for the first time here at the drift match. And Reese on the left, Vladislav on the right. Or do we send him again for one more time? Again, as Tanner said, winner of this battle goes into tomorrow's top 32 main event. And it is going to be Reese Tatterson getting the win over Vladislav Yakulovich here in the last 16 qualifying battles. Yeah, hearing over Discord, that correction coming from Reese. They're actually putting fault on Vladislav, using just a ton of left foot braking between 8 and 9.
So Reese Tatterson moves all the way on to main competition tomorrow, taking that first slot there. Now we start to get the bracket really building. Linus Tornquist at the line in the lead lane in the BMW, up against Victor Lacheris. Lacheris not too happy with his qualifying here that landed him here in the last 16. Let's see if he can improve it. Linus had a pretty decent qualifying, but we'll see what happens here through outer zone 1. Looking good for Linus out front. On the back foot a little bit was Victor Lacheris on the run up, but quickly gets to the door of Linus Tornquist. Sometimes it's a lot easier to chase someone as he comes into outer zone 5. Way wide goes Linus Tornquist through outer zone 5, and that gives Victor that chance to get that proximity back as they come through outer zone 6. Now down towards outer zone 7. Victor still looking on the back foot there. Can't really seem to really get to the door of Linus through the second half of this course as they push towards the finish line and finish out the first half of this run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Linus out front. Good initiation, filling 1. Victor, you said a little bit on the back foot here, way on the inside for outside zone number 2. Having 3 with Linus out front. Good snappy transition, but does find himself on the outside of lip 5. Falling back quite a bit is Victor once more. Trying to gain ground here in between 8 and 9. Oh, way on the inside there. Continuing on. Filling 11, now out to 12. Coming up a little bit shallow there is Linus.
Well, now back around at the start gate. Victor Lacheris now in the lead position. Linus Tornquist ready to chase him down for the second half of the battle. Only one moves on to the last 8. Initiating in for Victor, looking good off the initiation. Linus giving him quite a bit of room off of that initiation, but quickly gets up to the door as they leave outer zone 2 down towards 3. Make the transition happen along the bumper for Linus there as he goes. Oh, not sure if that was into Victor or if Victor just had a big bobble there through outer zone 5. They come through that inside clip now through outer zone 6. More contact there from Linus into the door of Victor Lacheris. They leave outer zone 8 through that inside clip. Make the final transition happen into outer zone 9 now through 10. Linus sticking right there with Victor the whole way around.
Yeah, doing a good job there. Let's take another look. Victor out front. Almost getting into the wall right away as Linus somehow stays off of it and gets back into the pocket of that RCF out front. Good transition for 4. Now into 5. Snappy. And Linus honestly doing a really good job not to send it into the door of Victor Lacheris there into 5. Continuing on now. Grabbing 8. Direction there to get himself out to 9. Doing a good job for 11. Is Victor out to that final zone, crossing that finish line. Linus right there on his door, and we go to our judges once more here. Linus on the left, Victor on the right. And there it is. Linus Tortfus gets the win here in the last 16 qualifying battles. That'll move him one step closer to tomorrow's top 32 main event, or round number 6.
Linus moves on, and now we see who goes to face Linus in the last 8 with this battle here. Juan and Jorquez in your lead lane up against Victor Alves, chasing down for run number 1. The tower lights up and off they go. The battle's underway. Juan making his way down the straight, initiating in. Victor right there with them as they come up over the hill through outer zone 1, now through 2. Victor Alves trying to get up on the door of Juan and Jorquez. They come through outer zone 4. Now transition to outer zone 5. A big dive there from Victor Alves in the chase to get right up on the door. Now the transition down to outer zone 6 and into 7. Some bobbling happening in the chase there from Victor Alves. He tries to stick right with Juan and Jorquez through this whole section. But once he got to the door, he hasn't left the door, almost pushing him through the final outer zone. And they finish out the run.
Yeah, keeping things exciting there at the end of the run. Good initiation from Juan here on the replay. Victor, a couple of bobbles there in that chase position between 1 and 2. Falling back a little bit through that small Manji section of the course, but then right back into the pocket 4 or 5. Juan on a good lead run here so far. Making a good transition for 7. Works his way out to 8, almost getting pushed there. Does come up maybe a little bit late for it. Victor staying with him. Final transition here, falls back, but then again quickly back into the fight and pushing him across that finish line.
Well, let's see what happens here in the second half of this battle. Victor Alves now in the lead lane. Juan and Jorquez ready to chase him down. Juan advances on to see Linus Tornquist in the last 8. Lights go on and off they go, and whoa, caught sleeping at the line for for Juan and Jorquez. We see Victor Alves continuing this run, so I don't know what happened here as we come back around. And there, yeah, I see Juan in the background returning to the start gate. And I haven't heard anything yet about a restart, so something happening to Juan and Jorquez. That gives Victor Alves the track all to himself. Well, he's doing a pretty good job at doing it as he comes to that final outer zone and crosses that line.
Now let's see if we catch it on the replay. Yeah, replay starts after the light illuminates. I think Juan is requesting that the judges review it, see if he did indeed jump the line. While they do that, take a look at Victor's sort of buy run here. If it does end up that he did not jump the start. Nicely done here out front, honestly. Good lead run. A little bit wide there of 11. Yeah, so it does look like they did indeed review. And I believe Victor Alves is going to get the win here. And the next group is loading in. Yep. That is what it's going to be. Let's take a look at the bracket there. Left hand side of the bracket is done and completed, while the right hand loads in. So again, Russell Jones not being able to make it to the last 16 qualifying battles. Byron moves on. Reese Tatterson gets his win, and then being that there is a Byron there, Reese Tatterson moves on into the top 32 main event for tomorrow. Linus Torfus also earning his victory over Victor Lacheras and Victor Alves, getting the victory over Wannen. But up next, Samuel Cuddy and Austin Mitchell, Steven Jarbo and Oliver Eppinger, Dimitri Mitten and William Holloway, Brandon Patrick and Kevin Stomp. I am getting word though that William isn't going to be able to make his battle against Dimitri as well. Fortunate to see.
So here we go. The second, well, the right-hand side of the bracket lines up to the start gate, starting things out with Samuel Cuddy and Austin Mitchell. Samuel Cuddy in that E46 BMW in the lead lane. Austin Mitchell in the S14 in the chase lane. Austin opting to start way far back, maybe thinking that there's maybe a power disadvantage there. As we come up, Samuel Cuddy initiates in, looks good off the initiation, grabbing all of outer zone 1. Austin Mitchell quickly up onto the door as he leaves a little bit of room here for the transition down towards outer zone 4. Samuel Cuddy keeping the car where it needs to be, but he goes into the wall. And Austin, good job at almost following him into the wall, but quickly gets back out of it. Now it didn't upset the run too bad, so they're going to continue on going as they come through outer zone 8, now through that inside clip. And no, pulling off to the side is Samuel Cuddy. Maybe something wrong, allowing Austin Mitchell through to finish out the run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Samuel Cuddy out front, throwing that car in. Having outside zone number 1 and 2 with Austin right there in the pocket. Tons of angle being poured into the car there. Same for 4. And then, yeah, bouncing off the wall a little bit there. Keeping it going, though. Reinitiating. Austin stays with him. Right along that bumper there. Little correction there. Very interesting. It almost looked like a little bit of a lag spike, and then just gets out of the run. But we'll go back to the start gate.
We sure will for the second half of the battle to see who takes one of the 4 remaining spots left in the last 8. Austin Mitchell now leads things out. Samuel Cuddy will chase him down. We'll see what happens here. Initiating in, looking good off the initiation. Samuel Cuddy leaving him lots of room through outer zone 1 off that initiation through outer zone 2. Slowly getting that proximity there as we come through outer zone 4. Wide goes Austin Mitchell, just like he's been doing in qualifying through outer zone 4, but he makes up through it through 5. That gives Samuel Cuddy the advantage to get on his door through outer zone 6. And now into outer zone 8 through that inside clip. One last transition to go. Samuel Cuddy's sticking right with him on the door there. But will it be enough to make up for that last run?
Yeah, let's take another look here on the replay. Filling 1. Pulls out a little bit of angle to get out there to 2. Samuel staying with him right along the bumper there. Wide for 4, as you said. And 5 as well. Falling off the back of that zone. Just barely grabbing that inside clip. Continuing on a little bit tight here in the course. That's going to get him out to 8 and 9, a little bit awkward. Final transition there, nicely done over the crest and across that finish line. Let's go to those judges. Samuel Cuddy on the left, Austin Mitchell on the right. And there it is. Austin Mitchell gets the win here over Samuel Cuddy. Moves one step closer. Steven Jarbo and Oliver Effinger up next.
Well, already at the line, our next battle to see who will see Austin Mitchell in the last 8. Steven Jarbo in the lead lane in that FDRX7 up against Oliver Eppinger in that beautiful Toyota Supra as the lights go on and the battle's quickly underway. Not many more battles to go here in the last 16 as they initiate in and come up the hill. Oliver is quickly on the attack to get into that pocket as they leave outer zone 3 and transition through outer zone 4 right along the bumper for Oliver Eppinger. He's giving him no breathing room on those transitions. They leave outer zone 5 through that inside clip. Now towards outer zone 6. Oliver trying his best to keep as close as possible to Steven Jarbo as they come through outer zone 8. Steven doing a good job out front here, putting that RX-7 right where it needs to be as they come out of the final, second to last outer zone into the final outer zone. On the door is Oliver Eppinger to Steven Jarbo.
On the door indeed. Let's take another look here on the replay. Fast initiation from Steven, but quickly Oliver reels him in with the Supra. Driving off of 3 a little bit early, preparing for that transition, makes it work into 5 from that chase position. Steven on a good lead line. Smooth transition into 7, working his way out to 8 with a small correction there, a little bit shallow. Nicely done for 9, but Oliver again right along that door, right along the bumper for that final transition as well, staying with him. They head on out to the last and final outside zone, crossing that finish line, and we go back to the start gate.
At the start gate here, we have Oliver Eppinger now in the lead lane up against Steven Jarbo, now chasing him down. Oliver brought the pressure in run number 1. Can Steven Jarbo answer for it? Initiating in, looking good for Oliver Eppinger out front. Had to really lock up those brakes coming up the hill, but he makes up for it. Steven Jarbo, though, way closer through outer zone 1 and 2 and 3 as they make the transition down the hill towards outer zone 5. Steven Jarbo already on the door of Oliver Eppinger. They come through that inside clip, make the transition through outer zone 6. Jarbo putting on taking out all the weights, all the stops. He's right there on the door of Oliver Eppinger, giving him no breathing room for any mistakes as they come through the second to last outer zone. Steven Jarbo gets it up on the door. Oliver Eppinger out front doing a good job as they cross that finish line.
And right back to the replay here. Oliver out front, throwing the Supra in, driving off of 1 super early though, only in that zone for just a second. Now filling 3. Steven right along the bumper through these 2 transitions in the Manji section. Oliver going wide for 5, but gets down to the inside clip nicely. Steven, fantastic transition in that chase, stays with Oliver as he ends up a little bit too far on the inside, heading on out to 8. Wide for 11 as well from Oliver. Force it back out to the outside. Nicely done there, crossing that finish line. And we go to our judges. Steven on the left, Oliver on the right. Winner moves on to face Austin Mitchell. And there it is. Steven Jarbo gets the win. Chris and Ed go left for Steven. Carl wanted it one more time. That will be Steven Jarbo's win. Unfortunately, Monster, that is a stolen content over there on CarX. Dimitri Mitten and William Holloway would be up next. But William Holloway is not going to make it to that battle. Dimitri Mitten will move on. Later on, he'll face the winner of our next battle. Brandon Patrick and Kevin Stump should be coming up to the line. Brandon qualifying 34th and Kevin Stump qualifying 39th. Okay, so we are going to send the buy run for Dimitri. A nice little practice run there for Dimitri Mitten.
Well, with Dimitri's practice run, buy run out of the way, now we can move on to the next battle between Brandon Patrick in the BMW in the lead lane up against Kevin Stump, chasing him down in that S15 Sylvia. The lights go on and off we go. Brandon Patrick sending it into outer zone 1, almost going for a reverse entry there as he comes into outer zone 2, and that allowed Kevin to catch right up to him off that initiation. They leave outer zone 3 and now through 4. Going wide through 4 was Brandon Patrick out front. Kevin Stump sticking right with him though as they leave outer zone 5 through that inside clip. Leaves a lot of room for the transition into outer zone 6, but quickly back into the pocket goes Kevin Stump as they come into outer zone 8, filling all of outer zone 8 for our lead driver. The transition along the bumper, a little wide there through 9 as they come up to that final outer zone. Kevin Stump leaving them no breathing room as they cross the line.
Applying a little bit of pressure from Kevin Stump. Look at this initiation from Brandon Patrick, almost backwards. Honestly, it's probably fortunate that Kevin Stump wasn't closer along that initiation. Continuing on, maybe just a tiny bit wide for 4, coming up a little bit shallow, working out to the outside for 5, and perfect on the inside clip is Brandon Patrick. Nice transition where Kevin Stump starts to reeling back in here, staying with him in between 8 and 9, into 10, right along the bumper for that final transition, and it nails. Lip 11 now out to 12, going a little bit wide, and we're back to the start gate for the second half.
And now ready to go for the second half of their battle. Kevin Stump now will lead things out. Brandon Patrick ready to chase him down as the lights go on. Let's see what happens here in the second half of this battle. Kevin Stump initiates in. Brandon Patrick almost pushing him through the initiation. As they come through outer zone 1 into 2, Brandon Patrick did that same initiation, so we lost a lot of ground through outer zone 1 and 2. He's slowly starting to catch back up, though, as we come into outer zone 5. He's back in the pocket and almost on the door of Kevin Stump as they come through that inside clip. Transitioning now to outer zone 6, and Brandon Patrick leaving a lot of room there on that transition as they come down towards outer zone 8. He gets back into the pocket now. We'll see how much room he leaves here. A modest amount as they leave outer zone 9. He's going to have to play catch up again to get back on the door of Kevin Stump as they cross that finish line. Maybe a spin out there before the line.
Yeah, I think Brandon got into the wall there, crossing that finish line. There we see a bit of an over rotation from Brandon Patrick. There is a decel area on that initiation. but they need to be picking up throttle pretty quickly once they get to outside zone number 1. So judges might take a look at that, but I think Brandon coming in just a little bit high. He is back into the fight here, heading on into 9. Kevin doing an all right job through this lead run out to 11. Nicely done there. And back out to the outside at here. Oh, okay. Just Brandon turning right there after the finish line behind Kevin Stump not getting into the wall. So we'll go to those judges. Brandon Patrick on the left, Kevin Stump on the right. Ed goes right, Chris. 1-1 more time. Carl goes right as well. Kevin Stump gets the win over BPAT here in the last 16 qualifying battles. He'll move on to face Dimitri Mitten. So we'll take another look at our bracket as the right hand side is complete. So it will be Reese Tatterson moving on into tomorrow's top 32 main event. So up next will be Linus Torkfist and Victor Alves, Austin Mitchell and Steven Jarbo, Dimitri Mitten and Kevin Stump, all coming up next here in the last 16 qualifying battles. I think we are going to bring Reese Tatterson in to take his bye run if he so pleases. Reese Tatterson at the line for his bye run. And moving on into tomorrow's top 32 main event. Nicely done from Reese Tatterson there.
Well, with Reese Tatterson's bye run out of the way, we can get back to our main competition. Now we're going to start filling these top 32 slots, and the first one, other than Reese Tatterson's, to get taken is this battle here. Linus Tornquist in the lead lane in the BMW up against Victor Alves. Initiating in for Linus Tornquist, super fast initiation, but look at Victor Alves surging onto the door through outer zone 1 up into 2. Quickly regains any proximity lost in that run-up as they come through the transition to outer zone 5. Victor Alves is on the attack, almost pushing Linus through outer zone 5 and into the inside clip. Now they make the transition into outer zone 6 and now down to 7. Victor Alves not giving up any breathing room. He's sticking right there wheel to wheel with them as he starts back off for the final transition to come back on the door. Or maybe losing some ground here. He's trying to catch it up, but he did lose some ground coming into that final outer zone as they cross the line.
Yeah, he sure did. Let's take another look here. Linus getting out ahead on the run-up, but door quickly shuts from Victor Alves in that chase position. Nicely done on this first transition through the Manji section. Quickly back into the pocket is Victor in that chase. Linus doing a good job out front, just a little bit wide of that inside clip, filling 7. Victor staying with him out to 8. Here a little bit on the inside with his line, gets out to 9. A little bit late is Linus, gets back into the inside clip, and then quickly reeling him back in is Victor Alves. There they go, crossing that finish line. We're back at the start.
Back at the start, and only one can advance on. Victor Alves now in the lead lane. Linus Tornquist ready to chase him down. The lights come on in the second half of the battle's underway. Victor initiates in, looks good on the initiation through outer zone 1. A little bobble as he came to outer zone 2, though. Linus sticks right there with him, almost wheel to wheel through outer zone 2 and 3. Now the transition from 4, now over to 5. Linus uses that opportunity to get onto the door. As they come through that inside clip, Linus looking for a way to get even closer. Some contact there out of 6 down towards 7. From Linus into Victor Alves as now they leave outer zone 8 through the inside clip. Towards outer zone 9, some ground loss from Linus, but he quickly regains it and gets back on the door across the line.
Yeah, Victor a little bit wide there before crossing that finish line as well. Nicely done on his initiation though, but a small correction there over the little hump into outside zone number 2. Grabs 3. Linus right along the bumper through both of these transitions and then quickly onto the door. Does make a small little correction there, but stays with good proximity right along that bumper. Maybe a little push from him there in that chase position. Filling 9 now. Down to that inside clip, final transition. Big angle there for 11, maybe a little bit too much. Little correction there, and then, yeah, a little bit too far on the outside for clip number 12. We go to our judges once more here in the last 16 qualifying battles. Linus on the left, Victor on the right. And there it is. Linus Tornquist gets the win. And it moves on into tomorrow's top 32 main event.
So Linus moving on. In our next battle at the line, these last 16 or last 8 battles are going to go by really quick. So don't go anywhere and enjoy the action that's here for you. Austin Mitchell at the line now. Sorry, Austin Mitchell. Well, he is. He's in the chase lane. But Steven Jarbeau in our lead lane in the FDRX7 up against Austin Mitchell, who will be chasing him down for the first half of this run. The lights illuminate and off they go. Down the straight, Steven Jarbeau initiates in, getting pushed though through the initiation by Austin Mitchell. Almost all the way through outer zone 1, but the ground that was lost is quickly regained from Austin Mitchell in that chase. After that early mistake, he gets back up on the door. They leave outer zone 5 to that inside clip. Austin has started to clean things up now in that chase and get nice and close with no contact. They come through outer zone 7, moving a bit of room here through 8 to set up for the transition into 9. Austin Mitchell quickly trying to get back on the door of Steven Jarbeau. Steven Jarbeau doing a good job out front here just to put on that lead run as they finish out the run.
And quickly back to the replay. Steven out front, and I don't think there was any contact here. Definitely came in hot and had to make a huge correction to I think not get into the door of Steven Jarbeau. Does get back into the fight here, heading on into outside zone number 5. Big surge there from Austin Mitchell in that chase position. Steven doing a good job out front. Good transition into 7. Now filling 8. Now out to 9. Down 10. Again, Austin right there in that chase position. We go back to the start gate where Austin can't keep his foot off the go pedal.
He wants to go. He wants to get it underway. So let's make him have it. Austin Mitchell now in the lead. Steven Jarbeau ready to chase him down before he blows that motor at the line. Let's go and send it for the second half of this battle. Down the straight, initiating in, looking good off the initiation for Austin Mitchell. Steven Jarbeau lost a bit of ground off the initiation, but quickly regained it as they came up to outer zone 2. Now the transition for outer zone 3. Whoa, Steven Jarbeau transitioning right along the bumper, keeping it directly on the door of Austin Mitchell as they come through that inside clip. Now the transition to outer zone 6. There's Jarbeau right there on the door, almost pushing him through outer zone 7. As now they come into outer zone 8, wheel to wheel through that inside clip. 2 more transitions to go. Jarbeau's looking for a way around at this point as they finish out the run.
Oh my goodness. Let's take another look here on the replay. Austin out front. Initiating in, nicely done for outside zone number 1. And then over the crest, even quickly reels him in and keeps this proximity up through the remainder of the course. Right along the bumper through that transition in the Manji section. A little bit wide is Austin Mitchell. A little bit wide for the inside clip as well. And then through 7, now down into 9. Little correction there, a lot of left foot brake being used wide of that inside clip. Really pours on the angle before making the transition. Then a ton of left foot brake heading down on into 11. And then across that finish line, we'll go to our judges. Austin Mitchell on the left, Steven Jarbeau on the right. And there it is. Steven Jarbeau gets the win. Unanimous victory over Austin Mitchell. And that'll put him into tomorrow's top 32 main event.
So with Steven Jarbeau taking another spot in the main event, that leaves 1 spot remaining, which means this is our last battle of qualifying for season 10. That's crazy to say. This year went by in a flash, but here we are for the final battle of the last 16 qualifying for season 10 between Dimitri Mitten in our lead lane in the BMW up against Kevin Stump in that S15. The lights go on and off we go. Initiating in, looking good for Dimitri Mitten. Kevin Stump a little bit on the back foot off the initiation as they come up to outer zone 2. Now down towards outer zone 3. Kevin Stump starting to regain that proximity, but not looking too solid in that chase position as they transition right along the bumper with no room to spare. And that gives Kevin Stump the advantage to get right on that door. Maybe a little bit of contact as they came into that outer zone. The first one, they're already through outer zone 7 down towards 8 now. Kevin Stump holding a good proximity here as they come through that inside clip and make the final transition through outer zone 9. Now up towards outer zone 10. Kevin Stump gets it back on the door as they finish out the run.
Yeah, nicely done from both of them. Let's take another look on the replay. Leaving one just a little bit soon is Dimitri out front, and then quickly being reeled in by Kevin Stump. Little correction there in that chase position. Nicely done for 4 out front, and then that transition from Kevin Stump. Staying on the door wide of that inside clip is Dimitri out front. Nicely done for 7 though, and now working out to 8. Getting there maybe a little bit late. Getting out to 9 there where Kevin is still applying some pressure in that chase position right along the bumper through the final transition where Dimitri fills 11 nicely, works his way back out to the outside where Kevin Stump pushes him along that finish line.
Well, let's see what happens here in the second half of this battle. And it'll decide who takes that last spot in the main competition tomorrow. Kevin Stump now in the lead. Dimitri Mitten ready to chase him down. The lights come on for what might be the final time for Season 10's qualifying last 16 battles. Initiating in, looking, oh, big contact off the initiation from Dimitri Mitten into Kevin Stump. And I think that'll be a full stop to this battle. They may carry on, but that was loss of drift on both of them through that outer zone, so we'll let them finish this out, but that was not good. That was a lot of contact. It looks like Dimitri was just carrying a lot of speed. I'm sure we'll see it on the replay there, and hopefully Kevin Stump didn't slow down too much.
All right, well, let's take another look at it here. Kevin Stump out front. Ooh, yeah, it looked like Dimitri tried to tuck up underneath. Didn't really get to a whole lot of angle either. Judges might review a couple of times. They continue on anyway. Will come down to that big contact. You said they both lost drift. Kevin doing a good job there. 4-9, a little bit wide of the inside clip. Final transition, Kevin Stump doing a good job heading on out to the final zone as well. And we'll go to our judges, Dimitri on the left, Kevin Stump on the right. And there it is. Kevin Stump gets the win over Dimitri Mitten. Kevin Stump finds himself in tomorrow's top 32 main event here at the Drift Mansion. Let's take a look at that full bracket now that is completed. Reese Statterson, Steven Jarbo, Linus Torfus, and Kevin Stump all move into tomorrow's top 32 main event. So, Linus Torfus will move on into that 29th position. It'll be Steven Jarbo in that 30th position. Reese will take that 31st position, and then Kevin Stump will take that 32nd position for tomorrow. Just a second here, should be able to bring up tomorrow's top 32 main event bracket. There it is. Tikhon Pileski qualifying first. He'll take on Kevin Stump to start the day off. You can take your screenshots now if you'd like to. We'll post it on our socials here in just a little bit as well. But a fun way to start out our final round. What do you think, Tanner?
I think it's going to be absolutely crazy for battles tomorrow. These battles were already so close, and there's so much going on in such a short amount of time. You know, it also is great for the drivers, great for the judges, hopefully great for the fans as well. Hopefully they're all enjoying it. Hopefully they enjoyed the last 16 format and the 2-day format that we brought in. I know it's been a lot easier on all us staff, and I think tomorrow we're in for a real show. And looking at the top 32 bracket with who is fighting for this championship, again, we had 6, now it's only 5 people fighting for this championship, so tomorrow is going to be an all-out brawl.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's one more look at that top 32 standings. Now, this is before the qualifying points being put in there, but there it is. Daniel Andreev, Tikhon Pileski, and Alan Hines, and then all the way down to Nico with that 265 still in the fight. So anything can happen tomorrow. Definitely tune in. We appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Shout out to our 3 judges as well, Chris, Ed, and Carl. Dion in the background, you, Tanner, as well. And our partners, Sim Magic, Grip Royal, Joka Design, Fourth and Mods, Geronimo Designs, and Ali Yusuf. Again, tune in tomorrow, same time. It'll be 4 p.m. GMT, 12 Eastern, so noon Eastern. We'll kick things off for our final round of season number 10 under the lights of the Drift Mansion. See you tomorrow.